I've got quite the story to share with you all, and no, it's not of Trevor's vasectomy.
Whoa! Dude, I love gay people now!
No, we're a good guy. We're trying to save the kids. Look, we're saving you! Saving!
Okay, so I was born in... currently live in Mount...
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our fun book club series for Black Clover. Last time we decided to recap, to help ourselves too, but we decided to recap some of the previous arcs of Black Clover, and in this episode we are going to finish recapping them and hopefully get started on the post-time skip stuff. What we have now is the Royal Knight selection, and then after that we have the Goombening to talk about, and then post-Goombening stuff. So, Brandon, where do you want to start with the Royal Knight selection?
Lion Mommy.
Well, that happens later.
Lion Mommy.
Yeah, because after the Witch's Forest, they decide, and you have to tell me if I'm right on this, from what I can remember, they decide that they're going to take the Royal Knights and, or like the Magic Knights, and they're going to host a sort of tournament arc for who amongst the Magic Knights can join the Royal Knights. The Royal Knights
little thing. We get to meet the king, and it's like Asta and Yuno are like the two best performing rookies and whatnot. You know, that whole thing.
Yeah, I forgot to mention the little stuff that happens before it, and that's where he announced. Hold on one moment. I'm not hanging up, but sorry, I'm getting a call from someone.
All good. I figured you cut out for a second.
Sorry about that. I am back. So, yeah, the king and Julius make the announcement that the Magic Knights are going to have a grouping together, and they're going to do the Royal Knights, and it's going to be a group dedicated to raiding the base of the Eyes of the Midnight Sun. So they host a little tournament. They group people together, and it's in teams of 3.
Well, before that, we get the Hot Springs arc with Lion Mommy.
I thought that was after.
No, it's before.
Oh, yeah.
It is before, because that's when you learn, like, the mana cloak or whatever it's called. I can't remember.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. So, before that, yes, my bad. If you haven't tell, it's been a while since we've read these or talked about them. So, yeah, we meet Lion Mommy and Mario Leona, I think.
Mario Leona.
Mario Leona. She is Brandon and I's, at least one of our favorite characters in the show.
I mean, to call her my favorite character probably isn't. I mean, I'm thinking maybe Yami. I really like Yami.
Yami's goated. Charlotte also. We haven't really talked about Charlotte.
Charlotte is goated. She hasn't done much yet.
Yeah, the Goombening stuff is what we'll get to her. So, yeah, what happens is Mario Leona decides to take a bunch of the rookies, and Yami included.
Yeah, that was a pretty good scene. She's just grabbing everyone.
Oh, yeah. One by one, she pulls out the flaming lion paw, just grabs someone, says, you're coming with. And one by one, they're like, you got picked. And then she picks that person. It was pretty good. So she takes them up through a volcano in a strong magic zone, and each of them have to practice this magic cloak, which I don't remember the exact specifics, but it helps them traverse magic regions, and it does something in terms of fighting. I don't remember what exactly.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what either.
But
it's the details that are lost on us.
Once again, it is a built-in fan servicey arc, because we get to see
Lion Mommy.
Yeah, we see stuff in the hot springs.
Lion Mommy.
Yes, Brandon. Lion Mommy does exist.
Lion Mommy. Okay, Trevor, we're gonna have an expert come in. Okay, Trevor, come on in.
An expert on what? What am I an expert on?
Okay, Trevor, here's your question.
Okay.
Lion Mommy.
That was a statement.
Thank you for having us, Trevor. I appreciate it. You can head out now. I appreciate it.
I'm so glad to be here.
The door's right over there.
Brandon, you just thanked him for having us.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
And after the Hot Springs arc, we get the tournament arc. And we get introduced to Xerx or Zoro.
Real name is Zora. I will say, I've seen quite a couple Shōnen in my time. A lot of tournament arcs. This one falls into the okay category of shonen arcs.
That's above average. I could tolerate it. I hate shonen arcs.
I don't like them either. I did hear a pretty positive argument for them though. I'm sort of neutral on them at this point, but this one was okay. One thing I did like was Asta's team formation, because typically in the tournament arcs they always make the main character in a not good position to. They'll usually pit him with people who aren't that helpful. Not usually, but sometimes they'll be pitted with people who aren't helpful. And in this case, I like the person that Asta was pit with. A hidden member of the Black Bulls. No. Zora.
Mimosa.
And Mimosa, yeah. Mimosa was on their team.
Mimosa was there.
But
That's true.
The thing that was great with having Zora there was one thing with Black Clover characters. Almost all Black Clover characters, at least the wide majority of them, are pretty much, no joke, the same character with minor slight variations. They're all people.
Kyle, you can't just tell the truth like
that. The thing I'm trying to get at is almost every character has something to do with a status, where it's like peasants who hate royalty, royalty who hate peasants, royals who hate royals, peasants who hate being peasants. There's just so much. A lot of characters just boil down to what class they are and what class they hate. Like Mimosa's brother, Royal, who hates peasants. Noel's siblings, Royals who hate peasants and they hate Noel. Zora is another one of these characters who comes from a peasant father. His father was like, wasn't it the first peasant or first commoner to join?
First peasant, I think.
First peasant to join the Magic Knights, and they mistreated his father, and I think that he died on the mission, and like he died protecting people. And so Zora
mistreated him. Okay. Let's bring in Cade this time. Cade.
I forgot what happened.
Cade. Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple options. When Kyle says mistreated, what actually happened? Was he A, just genuinely mistreated, kind of bullied, whatnot? Was he B, generally looked at very kindly upon, but they had to kind of, keep it on the DL because he was a peasant? Or did they, or C, did they murder him?
Now,
yeah.
What happened?
If this were a Steven Universe episode.
Okay, Cade, you can leave now. Trevor, come on in. Cade, you can leave.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you heard the question, A, B, or C?
A, B, or C?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with D, all of the above.
That is correct. That's absolutely correct. Thank you for having us. You can go now. And by that, I mean leave.
I
hate you.
forgot. All I remembered was that Zora hated the peasants because, and the one thing I remember,
Zora doesn't hate the peasants, Kyle. Kyle, you got to stay up on it.
Sorry,
I know it's late. I know it's past your bedtime.
Sorry, I'm trying to quickly clarify. The one scene I remember is some of the other knights talking, or not some of the other knights. There are people having a discussion about how he is out there saving other people, and that's why some of the other knights don't really like him. Or the other knights are just focused on glory. He's actually out there trying to protect the people. Yeah, they flat out murdered him. That is a detail I forgot. I am not perfect.
Yeah, you got that right, Kyle. I never forget details. I never forget any details whatsoever. You know me.
Zora has beef with the Magic Knights because of that, and he's working with Asta, and Asta is just kind of the opposite of him. He's like, "Oh, the Magic Knights are great. They're awesome." And he's like, "Fuck the Magic Knights. They're terrible people." So he has to work together with someone who's just a complete curveball. He can't get a read on Zora. Zora's like, just not really, don't really want to fight. And then he's like, psych, and just helps him win because he has the counter magic. So
yeah,
or sorry, the reflect magic. What stuff was there to note? We got the introduction of Rill. Rill was pretty powerful.
Yeah,
with the
I like Rill. We had Langris. Langris almost killed Finral. Just never that I thought that was going to be something to do with the Goombening. No, he just straight up almost killed his brother. That was just him.
Just out of anger.
That was just him, bro. That's on him, bro. That's his cheese,
This leads to one of the more iconic panels of Black Clover, apparently, that Brandon didn't really know about. It's the one where Asta, Magna, and Luck all jump Langris, and they're all pulling out their attacks to stop him.
Yeah, I'd never seen it before, but Kyle,
it was cool for the context
the
of
panel. Yeah, no, I mean it was solid arc. I enjoyed it.
having Noelle and Yuno on the same team was pretty interesting, and having Noelle get to fight. One of my favorite moments was her being able to fight her brother and finally just stand up for herself and show that how much stronger she is than them. It was against Solid, right? Yeah, it was her brother's Solid.
Yeah, it was Solid. That's right.
I know there's probably other stuff we're neglecting from it, but it was a tournament arc, and it did pretty typical tournament things, and I like the end result of it, and which leads into the longest or second longest, I think, arc of Black Clover.
Not yet. You have to talk about the lead-in specifically to it. So they form the Royal Knights. Lion Mommy's in charge of it. Love Lion Mommy. They go, they raid. They assemble the magic gems.
Yeah.
Then we get to see the Wizard King fight. His fight against Licht. We get the entire sus thing of who who is William, what's his connection to Licht. It's the Yami's sus of them, and in the anime they share the same voice actor. So there's a connection there. So it's like, what is? And you get the connection. It's like, oh well, he's an elf. So this is real quick. I really enjoyed the kind of like higher fantasy of Black Clover, where it's like, yeah, there were elves that used to exist. I enjoy all that. Later dwarves, I really enjoyed all that, right? And so the fight between them two, I thought was very good because it didn't diminish the Wizard King's power. It showed them in its full glow. Like, if he wanted to, he could have killed Lick just like that. He just didn't want to. And I'm going to ignore the fact that Chapter 214 exists, right?
We'll get to it. But for right now, we'll talk about the good.
And he dies by sacrificing himself for the people because, he's the Wizard King. You gotta love the Wizard King. Lick pulls this massive, insane spell out that's going to kill everyone in the Clover Kingdom. And Julius stops it, uses all his reservoirs of magic. and Lick stabs him, right, and kills him. He gets the final crystal gems, and he goes back and he starts the Goombening.
What Brandon's referring to is when all the magic gems are in place from Licht, what it does is it takes the souls of all the elves that are currently still lingering, and it just displaces them into like half of the entire Clover Kingdom.
Well, the souls were put into the bodies already. It just wakes them up,
Yeah. And through very convoluted means of like sending the souls to the future. The souls are waiting there, and they're waiting for the reincarnation of the elves, the magic gems, and they do that. And I'll be honest, it was somewhat disappointing. But the moment, like whenever we stopped reading at chapter 150, it was a huge like page turn. Like what's gonna happen next?
Yeah, dude, I read that at 4 a.m.
Yeah, and half of everyone we've come to know and appreciate in the series just turns into a villain like that.
Even
Now we could talk about what didn't work with the Goombening. It felt like a chance for the series to go in a more darker direction. I'm not saying kill half the cast, but it felt like as soon as it happened, there was already hope because look at that. Yuno's a descendant of the elves and is resistant to the elves trying to overtake his body, and he's still a good guy, and he has a massive power boost because of this elf reincarnation. And because of that, it's easy enough to know, like, okay, people are going to get their bodies back.
So, for reference, right, and this is, I should have put this at the beginning of the video, hopefully I remembered. Heavy spoilers for Jujutsu Kaisen, right? The manga. I really thought this was going to be the Shibuya. I really thought this was going to be Black Clover's Shibuya.
Yeah, no.
I thought this was going to be the arc that's like the turning point, right? Because I thought the elves were going to come back and we were going to lose half the cast and the rest of the cast was going to have to congregate and all that, and that just didn't happen. And they get and there's a lot that happens at the Goombening. A lot of it is fights, and this is just a recap. We won't get too into it. We've gotten into a lot of stuff. We won't get too into the fight specifically. A lot of stuff happens, lots of fights. You meet Henry before pre-Goombening.
Yeah, a lot of people.
We like Henry. Henry's cool.
Henry is cool. One thing we should bring up is them converging. Also, they beat a lot of the people who turn, and they get their allies back. Like, not easily.
Yeah, no, I do appreciate the author's resistance to using the power of friendship to bring them back. and relying solely on Asta's sword to like fully bring them back. You know,
Yeah.
I do really appreciate that.
And one other thing I want to bring up before we obviously jump into chapter 214, the introduction to the devils.
Yeah.
So, whenever this happened, Brandon and I thought this was like literally the devil. We thought it was just
Yeah, that's how he was introduced. We were like, oh, this is Satan. It's like cool based. I was like, here's our permanent enemy that's gonna stick around. No. There are no permanent enemies in Black Clover. It is arc by arc.
Yeah. And the fight was cool enough. I liked everyone converging together. One thing I do also want to bring up: Charlotte's relationship with Yami.
Yeah, she was a poem he couldn't read. You know.
That's honestly the perfect way to describe their relationship. Charlotte loves Yami, but Yami, being just one of the better characters in the series that he is completely based and doesn't really like notice that type of stuff. So it was some pretty interesting dynamics with her. You know, when the elf was inside of Charlotte's body and she was leaving, she's like, "This one is really awkward on the inside about you." And then Charlotte's like, "Oh my God, did the elf basically confess for me?" So we got to see a more vulnerable side to Charlotte. We got to see them go out to eat dinner after the fighting. It was so nice.
It was very nice. Yeah,
And now-
the fights in the Goombening were fun. I
Yeah.
liked Finral versus Langris. I think that's a pretty good thing. This is the last arc that Finral was like good in. He kind of took a nosedive after this one. It's like Sabouti with Sanji. You know, it's kind of he comes back to us in whole cake, right? So I hope Finral has his whole cake, but.
So now, do we want to talk about chapter 214, the giant elephant in the room? Like
they established the lore where it's like, oh, the devil did all this, yada yada yada. We get to see the first Wizard King and Licht himself. We find out that the Licht is actually some guy named Patry. Cool. I don't think it's ever explained why Patry is Licht's body. Maybe that was something to do with devil magic. I assume that's.
I don't know. It's too well. Maybe we'll come back to all this stuff in greater detail later. But for now, it's just recapping. So if people who are in the similar boat to us, where they've seen Black Clover and they want to hear opinions, they can get a refresher. And now, chapter 214, because we need to address.
Chapter 214 is the single worst chapter of Black Clover by so much it is not even funny.
And
to call it one of the worst chapters of manga I have ever read would not.
Here, hold on. Not even chapter 331. Like, as interesting as it was, didn't fix it, didn't help it. We'll cover what chapter.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying it fixed it, Kyle. We'll get to it. We will get to 331.
So here's what I wanted to bring up with chapter 214. With chapter 214, there are two notable things that happens. One of them was bad enough, where, remember in the previous episode where we established in the, like, really one of the early arcs where there was someone with corpse magic? Turns out, upon, like, multiple people dying, he just learned a new spell at the last second and kept them alive. It kept himself and the others alive as corpses. So death held no consequence there.
Well, I don't even know if they were corpses. Like, I think it's just reincarnation magic. Like,
yeah,
essentially. Yeah.
But he kept them alive. And the single worst thing that Black Clover's done, I agree with Brandon, one of the worst chapters, bringing back Julius Kronos.
Okay, so first off, the thing that happens is earlier in the little, what you call it, post, or whatever you want to say, post arc, end of arc, I don't know. You know, Patry sacrifices himself. You know, for as much as that means, he sacrifices himself, and he's like, you know what? He's like, I've done bad, and like, just you use me as like the catalyst, right? Through all the elves, just go ahead and kill me so we can undo all of this. He realizes the whole despair thing. It's cool. I was like, okay. I was like, this. I think this is a good ending for the character. Sweet. They bring him back, right? And then the more egregious thing is, this isn't at the time. They don't do anything with him. It's not egregious at the time, but in retrospect, they don't do anything with him. He's like, you think I'm gonna let you off after all you did? You gotta live with it. Like, okay, cool. I get to live in paradise with all my elf friends. Based, like,
yeah, they keep the bad guy around, and it's not even really a punishment because they don't do anything with him.
Yeah,
much.
It's so pointless. And then, yes, Julius is still alive.
So
I feel like with this, it's almost necessary to touch on 331 a bit.
Yeah.
Without getting into too much details. Like, if this was the plan the entire time, do I understand why they did it? Yes. I get it. In universe, it makes sense. But it is the same thing with Asta, where that does not excuse it at the time. It doesn't excuse it at the time.
No, I completely agree. So think about it like this for the people who either haven't read it or don't remember it. It's like something I'm pretty sure was 69 chapters. After 69 chapters of Julius' sacrifice, and we got into a, not going to name drop anyone or anything, we got to an interesting discussion with one of my friends about it who tried defending this point. And he brought up a couple things that I think Brandon and I would like to discuss, where at the time of Julius's death, 69 chapters later, he came back. And what Brandon and I tried arguing was, what makes a sacrifice is essentially the fact that you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's an ultimatum. You either have to live and kill off your kingdom to save the bad guy, or die to protect your kingdom. There is no either or. You can't have both, and that's what made it such a good moment. You got to see Julius shine as a character, wherein he gave up his life to defend everybody. And because of that decision, it led to the other people that he was lording over, or ruling over, rise up and end up saving the kingdom in the end. That's what Brandon and I liked about that moment so much. It was a moment of weakness where he had a quick judgment call. He made a call, and we got to see the ramifications of the actions. There was one chapter in Black Clover that said, I forget exactly the context, but someone told Asta, like, actions have consequences. And
it was Raya. Raya told him about it whenever he was like
Raya
about to do the thing. I don't know. There was never any payoff for it.
No, but I thought that what was going to happen with the series, where it was going to grow in more maturity and was going to have decisions actually matter to characters, like long-term decisions that might end in characters dying. Like Julius sacrificing himself, I thought that was going to be a direction where, like, oh crap, what if the Wizard King can die? Who, like, it added a lot more tension of he dies, Goombening happens, we lose half the cast. It was the recipe for something to rival Shibuya. But they bring back Julius, ergo nullifying the sacrifice. He got what he wanted and more.
Yeah, it'd be like in Shibuya if Nanami didn't die, Nobara didn't almost die, get rid of the story, lol. If Toto didn't lose his hand in the Boogie Woogie, that's the saddest death in Shibuya, by the way. Boogie
or
Woogie.
If Gojo didn't get sealed.
Yeah, no, if Gojo got sealed and then came back at the end.
Yeah.
and they beat Geto right then and there. And then they introduced new villains.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
And
it is so disappointing. And this is a point our friend tried to make. Is he was like, well, he's like, a series doesn't need to kill off people to be good. He's like, not everything needs to do that. And we were like, yeah, no, we agree. But whenever you fake kill off a character, you then open yourself up to that criticism. That's a criticism we have of One Piece, early One Piece at least. Like with Pell's death, like that's the meme, right? But yes, you don't have to have death to have tension in a story. But whenever your tension in a story comes from, oh, if they don't do this, then they're gonna be killed. Then like there's no tension. Like later on in the story, whenever Ghosh is stabbed at one, like I remember I just saw it, and Yuno's killed, and the rest of the Golden Dawn. Like I felt zero tension there because I knew they weren't gonna die. And whenever that's your stakes, like that's an actual criticism. You don't have to kill people off to have tension, to have a good story. I mean, look at One Piece. Well, in One Piece, the tension doesn't come from killing people off. In One Piece, the tension comes from, oh, well, if we don't defeat Doflamingo, then he's going to keep ruling over Dressrosa, and this entire revolution that's been in the plan for 10 years will fail. Or like, oh, if we don't defeat Crocodile, then the citizens of Alabasta are going to keep killing each other in the Civil War. You know, like, that's the stakes. It's not like, oh, if we don't defeat Crocodile, he's going to kill Nami. Or if we don't defeat Kaido, he's going to kiss my mom on the lips. Like, you know, that's not the stakes, right?
And here's the thing. You can have there are successful series with life or death stakes. Some I like as successful series, some I don't like. But for something like Black Clover, I didn't mind those as stakes. But if one of the most powerful characters, in the way that they describe it, depletes all of their reserves to save everyone, dies and comes back anyway, there is no more tension. All you have left is, oh, that's some nifty looking fighting. And that's what I felt in after the Elf Resurrection. When it slowly getting into Spade Kingdom, there were a lot of good fights that happened, but it wasn't like, oh crap, there's a chance that people could die. Anytime I saw someone die, I just kind of rolled my eyes, flipped the next few pages and said, oh hey, never mind.
Yeah, there they are. And like I said at the beginning of this, I know that with 331 it explains it, right? I know that what you call it. Yeah, we know. But with that, you have to have some sort of foreshadowing. The explanation we were given at the time was that he just happened to have magic reserves.
Yeah.
And that probably is just the explanation, right? I mean, obviously, there'd probably be some fail-safe that you know what you said. But that was the explanation we were given at the time. And it's so weak. Does it make sense as an explanation? Sure. Does it completely invalidate the sacrifice and taint the entire Goombening arc? Yes. Absolutely yes. Because like as we have discussed, there are no stakes anymore.
Yeah,
there is no tension anymore. And that is why 214 is so bad.
It just completely takes away from everything the series has. And this is the point where we were like taking breaks from Black Clover, being like slowly disappointed. And one thing I want to say, Cade asked me this about the Spade Kingdom, because I think now we can slowly transition into the Heart arc right before it. I don't think the stuff that happens after 214, I think the stuff after 214 is pretty good, but it doesn't make Black Clover as a whole better or fix what happened beforehand. It's good content, it's competent, but it feels like 250 something chapters is way too long for you to start getting competent and have good writing. Well,
yeah.
okay, not
good writing.
It's too long before your series has interesting stakes, or it makes you feel like there's actual danger.
Yeah, and that's what we said after 214. We took a break after 214.
We just couldn't.
We were like, even if every chapter after this is a Shibuya or Marine Ford or whatever you want, peak fiction. You know us, we love peak fiction. It taints the entire story. Like, it's just because of that, Black Clover was never going to be good again.
We called it a bad shonen. Now, after the Spade Kingdom,
Spade Kingdom, our opinions have mellowed out a bit, because yes, Spade Kingdom was very good, but our opinions on that still stand. Spade Kingdom can't save pre Spade Kingdom Black Clover.
Nope. I will continue to call Black Clover aggressively average, and even at times I doubt that. It goes from lesser than average, average, or aggressively average. Any of the wording, as long as it has average, I'll stand by it. So, yeah, after 214, the characters go to the Heart Kingdom, and we get introduced to what's going to happen shortly after. The Spade Kingdom completely wiped out the Diamond Kingdom, and in 6 months they are going to plan an attack on our kingdom.
It's in a she dies in a year. They say 6 months. That's right.
She's gonna die in a year, but in 6 months, they're gonna have to be ready to fight. So
this is where I have another issue with Black Clover.
Yeah, but before that, one thing I want to note. Sorry, Heart Kingdom had a pretty quick introduction, but I think for what they introduced, it was enough. We got introduced to Gaja. We got introduced to Lolo Pechka. I'm just gonna call her the Princess of the Heart Kingdom. Yeah, she's pretty cool with her full-on magic of just completely overseeing everything in the kingdom. Two things. One was what Brandon's going to say, but one was the quick introduction to Magicula, and just how suddenly she appeared and how many people were already impacted by her. I thought that was definitely a weird out of left field turn, where it's like, oh, Noelle's mom, Nozzle, and then I think a third person was also involved with Magicula. Oh yeah, the princess. Just so much of it turned into Magicula, and then
and just out of nowhere, and like this is like we haven't even heard of devils before. Man, what was it? I read his name somewhere. The devil.
the first devil.
Yeah, the first devil. I can't
Who
remember
cares?
it now. Yeah. Who cares?
He's not Brandon. He's not the biggest number on the field right now. Magicula is.
Yeah, and it's like we never heard of it, and suddenly it's devil, and you know what you call it? Whatever praise we give to the Spade Kingdom arc later, right? It deserves it, right, for the most part. But
yeah,
it doesn't change the fact that post Goombening, I think the world building gets shot a little bit. Like, oh yeah, the Diamond Kingdom is just dead now. Oh yeah, the Heart Kingdom that we've never been to. They're enemies. No, they're friends. They're best friends now.
Oh yeah,
and then the Spade Kingdom. Like, what even is the weird magic zone between? We've never heard of that before. Maybe once with like the Witch's Forest, right? But it's like the Spade Kingdom. It's like, oh, it's ruled by 3 devils. Why didn't we learn that earlier?
Yeah, you would
if
think...
you want to expand the world, that's fine. Like with One Piece, we've known about the Grand Line since the beginning, since Orangetown. Oh dude, my favorite Yonko fight right there, bro. My favorite Yonko fight.
Oh my God. We've heard about the new world too, really early on. Like that was Thriller Bark territory, even before that, I think.
Yeah, it was post in East Lobby. It was whenever Garp first mentioned it in New World.
Yeah, and with Black Clover, it's like you would think having an entire kingdom ruled by 3 devils, all of which were stronger than the thing that made everyone in Black Clover sweat buckets to fight against. You would think that would have been like huge danger flags already. Also, Notch, who we'll talk about in a bit, was just a spy in that kingdom, and devils were already somewhat known about, yet no one, like Yami or whatever, actively showed that they knew about it. Little strange to me.
Yeah, it could have been done a lot better. I think it was done. I mean, like I said, the Spade Kingdom arc deserves a lot of good things said about it. You know, we'll get to that, right? But it doesn't change the fact, like I mean, you know, how to say this, right? The entirety of Black Clover was building up to the Goombening. I mean, Licht was the only reoccurring villain. Then you get the devil, who, I mean, I enjoyed his introduction. I thought it was done well, and I was like, okay, you know, here you go. I was like, you know, this is like just more things. I was like, it's a very interesting twist, and then it's just over with, and then it's everything we've been building up to from the beginning is solved. Right? The only thing we don't know is like Yuno's past, Asta's past, and what's the deal with his demon? That's the only thing, and those could have easily been implemented, right?
And think about it like Shibuya. There were God knows how many long-term ramifications from that. You would think with the Goombening there'd be so many long-term ramifications. I called it. Brandon can verify. All I said was the only thing that the Goombening did was weaken the Clover Kingdom's defenses, making the other kingdom, the Spade Kingdom, want to attack it, and that is exactly what happened.
He called that. He absolutely called that.
Exactly what happened. And I understand it's natural, like, just, you know, think about it in a worldview. It's like, oh, our enemy's defenses are weakened, time to attack them. It makes sense, but in terms of storytelling, I shouldn't have been able to easily say, like, oh, that's exactly what's going to happen next, and that is exactly what happened next.
Yeah, and just the entirety of the Heart Kingdom, I feel like it was rushed a bit. I mean...
Oh, you want to talk about rushed? The time skip itself lasted, like, 2 pages? Not even?
Okay, well, we'll get to the time skip. Is there anything else from Heart Kingdom?
What?
Is there anything else from Heart Kingdom?
No. Well, we learned about the type of magic that Gaja has, where you make like the magic, like rune, sort of like I don't know. They look like the Pokemon Unknown in the spell circles, and you can just enhance your magic that way.
Yeah, it's okay, cool, I guess. It does lead to one of the best moments in Black Clover later.
We will cover that. That is when I have a lot to say on that.
Okay, so is that everything with Heart Kingdom? Or are we getting into the time skip now?
I'm pretty sure they established that they have 6 months to train, and oh my god, what a fast time skip it was. Also,
all right. So we're close on the episode time. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bring in Trevor. So Trevor, come on in.
Yep.
Okay, so we're done with the recap, right? We're about to get into Spade Kingdom. What has been your favorite part of Black Clover so far?
Okay, so, I mean, like, the early stuff, before they, like, messed everything up towards the end there,
True.
the early stuff was actually pretty good, you know? I enjoyed it, you know? It was a good read.
Yeah. Who's your favorite
Yeah.
character?
My favorite character? Dude, it's so hard to choose, you know? There's like a handful of, like, pretty good ones.
That's so true. That is so freaking true.
I agree.
That is
Trevor,
so true.
I
That
agree.
is so true. All right, Trevor. You can let us go now. That is it for recap episode 2, I guess. Next episode, we get we get into the whole thing we were gonna record in the first place before we
Yeah.
spend an hour and a half recapping stuff. So look
Yeah,
forward
hey.
to it.
Good. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed listening to our fun little recap. And next time we'll finally be able to talk about stuff we are recently not like knowledgeable about, the Diamond Kingdom fight stuff.
Spade Kingdom.
So,
It's not Diamond Spade. It's not Diamond.
sorry, my bad. Spade Kingdom.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you then. Bye bye.
Bye.